Chicken here, bringing you another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, we are discussing that, well, I guess we're more so announcing that the Mega Crab is going to be here in, today's Monday, so it's going to be here in, 1, 2, 3, it's going to be here in 4 days, guys. So the countdown to crab time is on. Unfortunately, as of right now, we do not have any crab shadows on our map, but it definitely has to be coming soon. So let's go ahead and start to discuss some of our, tried and true, our tested and bulletproof Mega Crab strategies to get out of the gates as quickly as possible. So when the Mega Crab kicks off, the chicken is 100% going to be using Scorchers and Tanks with some form of bullet. So given that I have 2 Gunboat Energy statues, 4 Troop Health statues, and 4 Troop Damage statues, there's going to be a lot of Scorchers and Tanks mixed in, especially at the first bit. And we don't know, well, we know now what the tribes are, but the chicken doesn't, because I'm recording this right before the tribal reset change. But given that, as of, like, if the crab was still in right now and we had this shock, if we had the cheap shock tribe, then that would just be, like, that would be such a game changer just in and of itself, right? Because that, like, I would honestly, I would probably change all my statues to Gunboat Energy statues, and I would just go nothing but heavies and Zookas for the duration of the crab if we had this, if we did have the shock bomb reduction in GB cost tribe. But since we don't have that anymore, it's going to be a safe bet to go with Scorchers and Tanks with a healthy amount of troop health and a healthy amount of troop damage to get you by. Especially on those first 20 stages, when the stages are roughly fairly easy if you're close to a max level player. You're going to get a lot of value out of your Scorchers and Tanks, so that's why I'm going to be loaded up for the beginning. You can use anything. You can also use Warriors. You can also use your Zookas. You can use Heavies and Zookas. So that's for stages 1 through 20, maybe even 25 or 30, depending on how easy the crab is going to get. And then you're going to want to mix in some Rifle, Zooka Medic, and Everspark. Now, for Rifle, Zooka Medic with the crab, honestly, I've always found, basically here's how it goes. So when I'm doing a Rifle Cryo Zooka Medic attack or a Rifle Zooka Medic attack, the idea is usually that the stage that I'm using them on, I'm not just doing it blindly, right? Like, usually the stage is pretty friendly to, like, it's a stage that has a ton of single target defenses. It's got a lot of Simos. It doesn't have a lot of rock launchers. It doesn't have a ton of shock launchers, things like that. So, whenever I'm using them, you get even more value out of it when you take away the Crying Ears and you throw in an extra boat of Riflemen, because the whole reason you're using it is because that specific stage doesn't have a lot of splash damage, right? You're not facing a lot of mortars, you're not facing a lot of rocket launchers. That's typically the 2 main defenses you're looking at when you're using Rifle Cryo Zooka Medic. So for those instances, you're going to be better off to have the extra Riflemen. They're going to last a little bit longer. They're going to do a little bit more damage, and overall, you're going to be in a better spot doing it that way. And boom. Arabic? I want to say Arabic. Arabic letters goes down. So that stages 1 through 30. And that's your Scorcher Tanks. And then if you get a couple weird stages, throw some RZM at them, and you should be fine to take those down. Unboosted for the most part. Then is where, after stage 30 is when it gets really tricky. That's when you're using your 2-6 taunt. That's when you're using the meta crab strategy of the tank rifles and Grens, which we'll probably end the video with. But for now, let's get into let's get into some 2-6 heavy Zooka, and let's get some battle orders to come along with us. Now, personally, the chicken is not going to be using a lot of smoky heavy Zooka, not going to be using a lot of heavy Zooka, not going to be using a lot of Zookas in general, just based purely upon my statues. I don't have the gunboat energy to use them. Even when I'm at full boost, I only have 117. So, if I'm unsure about an all Zooka attack, or a smoky heavy Zooka attack, then I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to stick with Scorchers and Tanks. I'm going to stick with what works. I'm going to play my statues. Because Right now, I don't have the statues in storage to switch them at the moment, so that's going to make things a little bit more tricky. But that's not to say it's still not going to be a valid strategy. Sometimes, if we get a mega core that's closer to the landing zone, if we get some, you know, to finish off the Scorchers and tank hits if they go bad or anything like that. That's when your 2/6 cleanup is going to come in. That's when your all Zukas are going to come in as well. So there's always a use for them. There's always a use for your heavies and Zukas and your smoky Zukas. So make sure that you got that trick in your back pocket if you need to pull it out, guys. So there's your stages 1 through 30. There's your kind of cleanup or some of your harder stages. Now let's do a couple attacks here because this is a strategy. This is a hard one to get. So we'll do a super easy stage at first. And I mean an easy stage. Oh my god, we could probably just get this with critters. Let's just try to see if we can get this one with critters, guys. So we'll go 1 artillery there, 1 artillery right about here. Let's go a barrage right over here. And let's go 1 artillery right about there. And, oh man, it's just not enough to take down that mortar. So go like that. And we'll go like this. And we'll throw out a super warrior there. And we'll throw out a shock right about here. And we got the critters where we want them. That super warrior might be able to do enough damage to take down that HQ himself, guys. How disgusting is that? Now he's also healing himself, right? Now look at that. The boom cannons aren't even able to one-shot him. Okay, so there we go like that. And let's go like this. Come on, super warriors. Come on, critters. Okay. So next we gotta throw another shot down right about here, just like that. Well, unfortunately he went down, but let's just throw a bullet out to finish this off. But yeah, so tanks, grenadiers, and medics, probably the best overall strategy for the crab. A hard strategy to learn if you're not used to it. If you're used to only using smoke, if you're used to only using your Zukas or your heavies and Zukas. There's definitely a steep learning curve with tanks, grens, and medics, just because it's so drastically different than the rest of the troop strategies. Sorry this is taking so long, by the way. I assumed it was going to be pretty quick, but I guess we'll throw them out now. Just to get some cleanup going. But basically, more or less, the idea when you're using this is you want to keep Bullet alive out in front. You want to keep replenishing him with the energy drink. And you want to keep reflaring. You're not typically just letting the troops go out. You're not using them like Scorchers and tanks where you kind of let them do their own thing and then you shock and barrage specific defenses as necessary. It's not really, you don't really use it like that. And we'll break it down for you in a minute here, but let's go ahead and just finish some of this off. I cannot believe this HQ has not gone down here. Come on, holy Jesus, dude. Okay. HQ, okay. Cannon finally goes down. But yeah, let's dive into a harder stage. We didn't, like, I thought we could get away with using critters there, but that's okay. Alright, so let's dive into Jazz E. And let's see what we got here, guys. Let's see what we got. Alright, so here's how we like to do it. We throw Bullet out in front. Make sure Bullet is out in front. The tanks are going to stand behind Bullet. The medics typically follow Bullet, but that's actually okay for this. So here we go. Now, this is basically where I want everyone right now. Bullet's way out in front. He's able to tank for everybody. And then I can shock things like shock launchers that are gonna screw up my movement patterns, that are gonna screw up my just the overall movement of all my troops. And then we want to go like this. Now, I don't want them. This is basically how you have to move them. I don't want them really ever to spread out in a big wall and start just shooting at different sections of the base. I want them all bunched up. And I want them taking out specific things. So right here, I'm working on this cannon. I'm working away on that shock launcher. And then as soon as basically that shock launcher goes down, that's when I'm going to reflare them. Right about here. And then reflare and smoke. It's okay to use the smoke here and there. You don't want to get caught using too much. And you don't want to get caught using smoke on troops that hide them from defenses and screw up your medic pathing as well. You got to stay on top of things like your medics. You got to stay on top of Bullet, and you got to stay on top of just your overall kind of range of all your troops. And you also have to be aware when you're using grens and tanks and stuff. You typically don't want to use critters really at all, Because they just die. Like, your tanks are just going to walk out in front, and then your Grens are going to show up in behind. They're just going to start lobbing bottles, and then your critters are just going to go down. But the Super Warriors are okay. We're not going to have them for the Mega Crab. That's why I'm not really getting into much kind of discussion on them. But, yeah, Jazzy goes down. Back. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is going to wrap it up for the video today. Make sure to let me know down below in the comments what your favorite troop strategy is for the Mega Crab. Is it your Scorchers and Tanks? Is it your All-Zookas? Is it your Heavy Zookas? Or is it Tanks, Grenadiers, and Medics? Guys, let me know that down below in the comments. That is going to wrap it up for the video today. Make sure to leave a like if you found it interesting, entertaining, or informative. And we'll see you next one, guys. Chicken out.